What was your worst heartbreak and what happened? Over immediate gratification. Groundbreaking, you know, Let's get into it. First question, just to start with basics, is what is your name? No, I'm not gonna do that one. That is Arabic actually. Third is, what are you actually studying? A lot of people tend to get confused with what I'm studying, mainly because sometimes I mention law, other times I mention other modules that some people do as well. I'm actually completing my LLB degree right now. I'm sorry, I need to take off my watch because it's getting a bit distracting. So we're just gonna set it aside. Hold on. Anyway, but yeah, I'm completing my LLB degree, but I do have interest in more creative spaces such as media, marketing, content, that type of thing. I do also enjoy literature. I am a reader. I just don't read as much as I did previously, mainly because I don't really have that time. But I am a writer of sorts. If you were part of the Wattpad era, just know I was one of the Wattpad author girlies. So yeah, I enjoyed that era so much. But yeah, I do enjoy literature and the likes, and that's what I'm studying. Fourth is, what's something people assume about you from your content that isn't entirely true? That I'm an extrovert. I wouldn't say I'm an extrovert. I'm more of an ambivert. It depends on the space and the people. Obviously, I'm gonna read the room, but for the most part, I do know how to socialize. If I'm getting good vibes, I'm definitely going to be reciprocating and imitating that. So I get the confusion and I get the whole premise of vlogging in public. It takes guts. It takes you having a certain level of audacity, which I do have. So I get why there's that much confusion. But for the most part, I don't think being considered an extrovert is that bad. So I'll just take it as is. The fifth question, I was kind of in between whether or not I'm gonna include it, but we're gonna do it anyway. How was high school? What did you enjoy the most, and what do you miss the most about it? I think high school was mid AF, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think it was anything spectacular. I wouldn't say I don't have good memories, but it was nothing groundbreaking. You know, I'm pretty sure my experience is the same as the next three people's experience, give or take a few details. But for the most part, I think the thing that I enjoyed the most is having immediate, all the time access to my friends. You know, right now, post high school into uni, where we're all practically living in different provinces, living different lives in different circles with different people, and we all have our own interests. Having to go out of your way and intentionally plan meetings or ensure that you're keeping the communication going with your friends. In high school, we mainly relied on, our daily schedules, our classes, our everyday routines to kind of keep that relationship going. It has been a bit more difficult, so that's definitely something that I do miss, and it is something that I did enjoy. Okay, lucky number 6. This one was a bit more juicy, and I know the person that asked me this question, I think, has mentioned something related to it before. What was your worst heartbreak and what happened? I am pleased and displeased to let you know that my worst heartbreak was unfortunately from a friend and not from a partner or love interest. It happened more recently than most things. What happened was familiar ke wheel. Your number way. I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish this video. I don't know. Let's see how far we can get, and if I'm gonna have to cut it short and continue maybe tomorrow, we'll see. Basically what happened was, obviously post high school a lot changes. Like I said, you have to be more intentional about maintaining your relationships, but we did that pretty well. However, life had more in store for us than we did expect, and at a period in time where they were kind of coming to terms with something very difficult and that had a huge impact on their life, I had something difficult happen in my life. I had something difficult come up in my life, and during that time I feel like we had our own things to deal with. I wasn't given the support that I felt like I was entitled to, or at least I expected, especially considering I had been given it. But yeah, essentially I've kind of grown past that. I understand where they're coming from. They understand where. Good job, video.
2,000 years later.
You know, so basically I've kind of come to terms with it. We've made our peace with it. I've said my piece, they've said their piece, and obviously they've been my friend for long enough to where I can still wish them the best even if I'm not part of that best.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
I was bullying you. Okay, can I please borrow it? Yeah. Thank you. The tripod that I'm using right now is hers because she has a more compact, smaller one, whereas mine is bigger. So it would have been very difficult to kind of navigate around the angles. Anyway, let's continue. Question number 7. How do you deal with the social anxiety of vlogging in public? When I went into it, I had already had inspiration. I knew who I was trying to emulate or what type of content I was trying to produce. So I had already come to terms with the anxiety, how it might look from the outside looking in. But for the most part, I don't think it takes that much. I don't really have that much social anxiety to do something that I've always wanted to do in the first place. You can start small with like less crowded spaces and then work your way up to bigger spaces where there are more people, more eyes, more pressure to kind of continue vlogging and not panic. 8. Describe your growth in one word. Non-existent. I'm kidding. But for the most part, I will say, just to be completely transparent and vulnerable, I feel like my growth hasn't been as much as I had expected for this point in time and for how long I've been doing it. Mostly because I don't really think it's a quality thing. I think I do create good content, but I do think it's a bit repetitive, mainly because I'm always in the same spaces. That's kind of something that I have kind of had to come to terms with. And on multiple occasions I have considered to stop doing content, mainly because of how frustrating it is. Even when the numbers are looking good, I don't think essentially you don't see it in the growth. At least I didn't see it in the growth, you know, especially in situations where you see other creators, even if they're not creators in your own space, in your own kind of circles of creators that started after you, have significantly more growth than you when they don't put in, or at least from my perspective, the quality isn't the same as yours. Not in a disrespectful way, but more in an analytical way. You get what I'm saying? But all jokes aside, I'd say if I was to use one word to describe my growth, I would definitely say steady. You know, it's definitely a day-by-day thing. I take it as it comes. Sometimes you get more engagement than you would have expected. Other times you don't get engagement at all. Other times the type of engagement that you get is not the type of engagement that you want. So it's very frustrating to kind of figure it all out. But you know, but I'm very appreciative. Like, I really do enjoy doing content. I do enjoy the community and the audience that I've kind of put together and built for myself. So at the very least, I have that to be excited about. Question number 9. How has content creation affected your self-esteem? I have always had pretty high self-esteem and like a high sense of self. So I don't really think content creation has had that much of a significant impact, but I will say being able to meet so many different people who kind of gel well with me, like my personality, you know, enjoy seeing my content, that is very heartwarming. You know, it's so wholesome to meet people that you've never met ever, but they've seen your content, they have an idea of who you are, they enjoy your personality, and they're just like so excited to see you. So that's definitely something that I'm like, you know, tea. Next. Question number 10. What inspired you to vlog the way you vlog? The content that I enjoy consuming. I produce content that I like to watch. Not to say I like watch my own content as much as like I'd like anyone else to, but more like I create the same type of content that my favorite creators create. Obviously at a lower scale because I'm still, you know, a micro creator, but for the most part I do create content that I like to consume. So anything that I post, I would watch. Although sometimes I do experiment with different editing styles, different, I wouldn't say I don't know what else I can say. But otherwise, I create content that I would also consume. So that's kind of where I get my inspiration. Question number 11. How did you start squash, and did you buy equipment before you started, or did you get it after you began? The story of how I started squash is actually pretty funny. What happened was, me and a friend had planned to do a tour of every sport for the day, or at least specific sports within a specific area, such as indoor sports within that square area, and then we'd go to the field, then the courts, you get what I'm saying? And essentially what happened was, we had a miscommunication where I interpreted as we're going to be trying different sports every single day, and the initial plan from the other person's perspective was, I don't know if you can hear that, to be fair, I need to get a mic ASAP, like immediately. From the other person's perspective, the plan was to go to a different sport every single day, you know? And so on that day, I came prepared, ready to like try a new sport. I actually vlogged that day. So if you go onto my TikTok or my Instagram, it's definitely up there somewhere, of my first day trying squash. And then I just fell in love with it. I love the sport, but I wouldn't say I love the team. I'm not gonna lie. Question number 12. What's something you've gotten more protective over as you've gotten older? My time and my presence. I think it's a bit conceited and like, you know, self-centered of me to say, but I say it wholeheartedly and with my chest, you know. You have to be very stingy about your time and your company, mainly because you have to be careful about the spaces that you let yourself be in and how long you let yourself be there. And also you have to dedicate more time to things that would end up serving you in the long run, you know. And sometimes that might mean you have to miss certain things, or you have to prioritize other things for that long-term benefit over immediate gratification. You get what I'm saying? Not to say if I missed anything that means sorry, that thing is not worth my time. It just means other things did have to come first, typically like academic related or family related, or just for personal reasons I wasn't able to pull through, you know. Skaba made it me. Question number 13. What's something content has taught you about yourself? How resilient I can be. It definitely has taught me resilience and persistence, because you could spend a whole day working on an edit, like editing a vlog, and you'd pick the perfect sound, pick the perfect font, the perfect sound effects, make sure that the lighting and the edits and like the quality is amazing, only for it to get 13 likes and like, you know, 20 views. Whole time you have over 500 followers. It's kind of insane. So being able to kind of move past that and be persistent, I don't know if you can hear me, guys, I genuinely don't know. Be resilient enough to keep on, persistent enough to keep pushing, keep putting yourself out there and kind of working towards what you want at the end. So that's the main thing. Almost at the more exciting questions that I know a lot of people have asked me, but I've avoided before. So this is basically an exclusive. Like, this is the scoop, bro. Like, stay tuned. Are you a morning or an evening person? Oh my goodness, I'm finna. Anyway, I will let you know that I'm an evening person. I think most creatives are, or people that just enjoy being to themselves, are evening persons, because like during the night the world is quiet. People are in their homes, they're minding their own business, doing their own thing, winding down. So I think that's the point in time during the day where I feel like I'm most comfortable. It's just that it's not safe to be outside at that time unsupervised, or at least alone without any witnesses around. So that's kind of means I'm gonna have to be indoors type of thing. But I'm definitely an evening person. I don't even sleep for real. Sleep late, wake up early. That's just like the name of the game at this point. Question number 16, I think. I don't know how far we are at this point. I'm just gonna give it 16 and we'll continue counting from here. What kind of people do you naturally gravitate towards? People who take initiative, or people who are move makers. I don't know how to make it make sense, but people who get things done are definitely the people that I gravitate towards the most, because I enjoy getting things done. I enjoy getting busy. I enjoy like being part of the process. So definitely I gravitate towards people that like to get things done or like to kind of try new things and take that initiative. Honestly, guys, the next couple questions are not questions that I should be like answering with a house full of people, so I'll just continue this video tomorrow. Bye. Hold on. Let's try a transition. Or should I punch you? Bah. Ooh, okay, I'm gonna punch you. Okay, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Hi, so this is Phutii editing. I'm editing the video right now. I'm gonna post it tonight. And essentially, I just realized that I never even filmed the second part of the video. Everyone was home. It was so chaotic. I never got to do it. I procrastinated it to the point where I second-guessed myself and then I changed my mind. This is not a never ever. It's a just not now. And essentially, we're going to have to deal with that, right? Don't hate me. It's just a bit much, okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And stay tuned for next week's video, which I filmed this week, I think. I can't remember. I just have a lot of footage in my phone and I'm gonna have to sort through that throughout the week and see how I go about posting it. But essentially, thanks for watching. Don't be mad and we'll talk soon. So, bye.